Hi guys, it's Shakes here again. So we know who our customers are, we know what they want. Our forecourts are ready. This is the final step of a very big business. This is the last but most important link. We're supposed to move fuel from these fancy dispensers behind me into the customer's car. But it's not just about moving fuel, it's about how we do it. And that, my friend, is the key to excellent customer service. So here we are on the forecourt. What do we do now? Now remember guys, it's very important that we are visible at all times. Reason for this is when customers come in here and they don't see us, they may think that we closed, something is wrong, or we're on strike. Look, here comes the customer. Remember step number 1 from the 8 steps to excellent customer service. We welcome and we greet the customer. Now, it's very important to guide the customer to the most convenient lane and make sure that their filler cap is as close as possible to the nozzle. Good morning, ma'am. Are we filling up with leaded, unleaded, or diesel today?
Hi, can I have 200 Rand unleaded?
Is that 200 Rand unleaded?
That's correct.
Now, what happened there, guys? I checked the fuel type, the fuel amount, and then I confirmed with the customer. Why? It's very important to make sure that we put in the right fuel in the right car. Now, if I happen to put the diesel in a petrol car, the engine of that car will be finished, and so will be my job. Now, you will know that some of the old cars are taking lead replacement, and most of these new cars are taking unleaded. Okay, what do we do now? We get ready to fill up the car. When we come to the filler cap, you push it open. If it's one of the older models, we would usually ask the customer to either open it for us or give us the key to be able to open it. When we open up the cap, most new cars have strings attached to it and there's a place to put the filler cap in. What we don't want to do is to take the cap and put it on top of the customer's vehicle. Why? It may stain the car or damage the car. Where else can we put it? We can put it on the pump island, on top of the bin, or on the pump itself. But remember guys, stay with me here, stay focused. Don't forget where you put it. What do we do next? Now what we do next, we punch in the amount as the customer has requested, lift up the nozzle, make sure the entire thing is off the pump, put it in the customer's car. Now remember, the customer has told us exactly the amount that they need. So we can put the pump on automatic and then turn around to activate the pump so that we can get our fuel. Okay, my great people, now we are very lucky with these automatic dispensers because once it's an automatic, it controls the overflow. If there's an overflow, it will cut automatically. If we don't have that, then we have to control it with our hand and continue to watch the number of liters going into the car. Because remember, if I put in more than the requested amount by the customer, that is coming out of my pocket. Okay, my people, we've finished dispensing the correct amount of fuel into the vehicle. Now what we do, we remove the nozzle, make sure there's no drip, and twist it up, lift the pipe, put it back into the pump, and twist the nozzle, make sure it goes in head in fast, and it's secure back into the pump again. Okay, everyone, now we've just finished dispensing the fuel. We put the petrol cap back in. Remember what I said about you must always remember where you put it. We make sure it's closed and secured nice and tight. We close it up. Now, if it happens that there has been any fuel spillage, we clean it. We grab the paper towel, make sure we've got clean water, rinse it off. Once finished, make sure that we wipe it off. Make sure it's nice and clean. Once that's done, we come and apologize to the customer. Let the customer know that there has been a minor spillage, but it's all been taken care of. Why is that important? Well, petrol can actually stain and damage the paintwork. And if that happens, we are in trouble. Now remember guys, the 8 steps to excellent service. What's number 3? Come on, think now, what is number 3? Offer the customer additional services. Ma'am, can I clean your windscreen and check your oil and water? Here's a tip for you guys. If the customer has asked you to fill up the vehicle, we could be doing all of this while the vehicle is busy filling up. You know what? We don't want to be wasting the customer's time. As they say, time is money, bro. Okay guys, now we're moving into cleaning the windscreen. We come and grab our squeegee, make sure the blades are intact, the sponge is not torn, remove any excess water, come to the car. Now take note, in some vehicles we may have to lift up the windscreen wipers. In this car we don't. It's very important we start on the driver's side. The reasoning for this, if the customer should be any hurry, by that time we are already done by this side and the customer can get on his way. When we're done with the driver's side, and then we can move over to the passenger's side. Once that's done and we still have time, we can move on to the rear windscreen and the mirrors. Clean the wiper blades as well. Use a paper towel to dry the water that has collected at the bottom of the screen. And carefully lower the wiper blades back onto the screen. Don't let them snap back because this can damage them and it can damage the windscreen. Okay everyone, we already know that we have to check the customer's oil and water with a smile and a friendly service. We kindly request the customer to pop the hood open. Once the customer have popped the hood, we start feeling for the catch. Once we get hold of it, we lift it up, control the bonnet as it's coming up. Now in this car, you'll notice there's a hydraulic stay. In most cars, they have a manual one. In that case, we'll have to lift it up, find the bonnet hook and hook it on. The reason for this, on a windy day, we don't want the bonnet to fly off because it can damage the vehicle or injure ourselves in the process as well. Okay, now we need to locate the engine oil dipstick, which is normally a brightly colored loop or T-handle. We grab the handle, lift it up slowly, clean it up from the bottom down, put it back in slowly, make sure we don't force it all the way down, bring it up again, hold the cloth underneath it. Okay, now come have a look here guys, come get closer, let's take a look at this. Does this car need oil or not? As we know, if it's all the way up, the car needs no oil at all. If it's halfway through, it may need a pint or so. If it's all the way to the bottom, this car definitely needs oil. But we can't do this without the customer's permission. So we need to show this to the customer first. Ma'am, your oil is about halfway through. I recommend a pint of multigrade oil. Now guys, we know that the customer said it's okay. First thing we do, we replace the dipstick. Make sure that it's nice and secure, because we don't want oil leaking out of this car when this car is back on the freeway. Should that happen, we are in big trouble. Okay guys, you heard me say to the customer, I recommend multigrade oil. Who knows what's the reason for that? Come on, you've got to know your oil. Take a look here. We've got SAE 15W40, which means operates at both temperature, high and low. Here we've got SAE 40, which means it only operates at high temperature. And now that's the secret. So guys, how do we open our oil can? Come, let me show you. What you do, you are looking for a can opener that looks like this. Because what's important, it needs to put in 2 holes on the can. Once the can is open, you come back to the car. Now, we need to remove the oil cap. And this is what we do. Take the oil cap out and we put it here. The reason we put it here, in case we happen to have forgotten it, the bonnet will not be able to close. Put your thumb on one hole, tilt the can gently, release the other thumb so that the oil gently goes into the engine. Now once that's done, we dispose the oil can into the recycling bin. Remember to close the oil cap. Make sure it's nice and secure, and then check the oil level again. Show the customer that the oil is on the correct level. And now we need to do the coolant check. Now what is a coolant? Well, a coolant is a mixture of water and antifreeze. What exactly does it do? It cools the engine while it's working. Now, to be able to do this, we've got some cars that has a coolant reservoir. In the older models, you would know that they have a radiator which is in metal and with a metal cap. In this case, what we do, we need to check the level. If you would see here, it's got a minimum and a maximum level. Now we need to establish if the car needs coolant or not by checking the levels. If it's below the minimum, then it needs coolant. If it's in between the minimum and maximum, then it's fine. Okay guys, now if it's below the minimum level, we know that we have to top it up. But before we do that, we need to be extremely careful when we open the coolant reservoir. If there are bubbles, it means the car has overheated. What we do in this case, we slightly open the top. Please guys, be careful because we are dealing with extremely hot liquids here. It could blow up in our face. How we open it, we slightly open it to release the pressure, and once that's done, we can start filling it up. Okay guys, when we fill it up, we need to make sure it's in between the minimum and the maximum level. Now, if it's a radiator, we grab a cloth to protect our hand from getting bent. We put the cloth on top of the lid, we open it slightly until we hear hits. We keep doing that until we are able to open it completely. Once that's done, we top it up with the coolant. Always remember guys, to put the lid back on securely. And now, remember guys, we should never put coolant into an engine that's overheating. Now, if the customer insists, we should advise the customer that this will damage their engine. If they continue to insist, then in this case, we have no choice but to speak to the manager. Now guys, as part of our additional services, in this case, we have to locate the water reservoir. Check if it needs to be topped up. If it does, we grab our watering can and we top it up. Now, once that's done, make sure it's closed. Once we're finished, usually in the older models, we will have to check the battery cells and the brake fluid as well. In this case, we don't have to do any of that, but I will show you how we do that on another car. Let's quickly look at the battery. Some batteries of new cars are sealed and we cannot check the level of the fluid in them. Okay guys, remember I said I will show you how to check and top up water level in a battery? Always remember, it has to be distilled water, not tap water. There is an acid in a battery. Acid makes everything it touches corrode. So we must be careful that we don't let any spill anywhere. We open the cap of the battery. We check the water level. If it needs topping up, we top it up with distilled water. We put the cap back on. Make sure it's closed properly and securely. If anything spills on the battery or the paint, we must wash it with clean water from the watering can. And the customer is ready to go. Ma'am, would you like me to check your tire pressure? Do you know how much you'd like it to be? Now guys, in most cases you would find that customers are not aware how much their tire pressure should be. In that case, you can check on the door panel. If it happens not to be there, you can check on the fuel flap. If it's still not there, then you can check the manual. If you don't have it on the manual, by this time I assume that you know your cars. You make a recommendation to the customer. If the customer happens not to be pleased with your recommendation, you can go ahead and chat to the manager. Now we need to find the hose, grab the hose, make sure we pull it so that it does not scratch the paintwork, and we need to start from the furthest tire. Now firstly we locate the valve, but before we do that, here's a free tip from me to you, for free, for mahala, it costs you nothing. We fill the tire. If it's hot, it's very likely that the air will be slightly higher. Once that's done, we take off the dust cap, check the air pressure. If it's higher, we deflate it. If it's lower, we inflate it according to the required pressure. Now remember guys to put the dust cap back on. When we put it on, we mustn't make it too tight. Remember, it's not there to stop air from coming out. It's just there to stop the dust because we don't want it cracking. Now we finish with this tire. What we do next, we meet with the tire next to me at the back. Once that tire is done, we move to the tire in front opposite me, and then we end off the tire at the back closer to the hose rail. Nice and tidy, sharp, our customers like that. No time wasted. Now remember guys, some customers may want to do their own thing, like check their own oil, check their own tires. That's okay, let them do it. But be there in case they need you to do anything. And you can continue to offer yourself to put the hose back or put back the dust caps. Remember guys, our 8-step to excellent customer service. Always let the customer know when the fill is complete and how much. The reason for this, in case we have put in the wrong fuel in the car, we still have time to extract the fuel without doing any major damage to the engine. Ma'am, I've just put in 200 Rand worth of unleaded fuel in your car. Now guys, here's a free tip. Always remember to offer the customer a cash slip. I'll be right back. Now, if you get here and there's a line, always remember to let the customers know, especially if you've got a credit card. You'll find that most customers don't mind waiting as long as they know what's going on. Pump number 5, 200 Rand. May I have a cash slip, please? And number 5 of our 8 steps to excellent customer service. Pay attention to your customer. Serve them promptly. Gotta go. Here's your cash slip, ma'am. Thank you very much. Have a fantastic day. We really hope to see you again soon.
Thanks, Shakes.
And that, my friend, is number 6 on our 8 steps to great customer service. If you remember it, it's worth 10 points. So don't you forget it. Now, let's take another look at our 8 steps to excellent customer service. Number 1, welcome the customer. Number 2, we check the fuel type and the amount purchased before filling the vehicle. Number 3, offer the customer additional services. Number 4, let the customer know when the fill is complete. Number 5, we pay the attention to our customers and serve them promptly. Number 6, make a friendly parting remark to our customers. Number 7, always wear your name badge. And the last step, keep your uniform neat and tidy.